we ain't afraid of no ghosts because we've seen them all by now and they're super cute and they're not scary, right? I mean, like the little Stay Puft Marshmallow guys, they're essentially minions. They're super adorable.
So minions. Oh my God.
They're like doing the little gibberish and everything. Anyway, we are talking about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. This is a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's like a reboot, legacy, cool, whatever you want to call it. If there's a Ghostbusters movie, we're probably going to have to review it because for some reason it's like a really like nostalgic tug for a lot of people. I don't understand this. Anyway, subscribe though if you have not. We'll always be here for you for any ghost busting that you might need. Alonzo, please describe this film.
We're going to need all the help we can get.
Let's get to work.
Can I be of any help?
I understand the nostalgic draw. I just wish that these movies weren't so built upon the nostalgia. But anyway, so yes, it's a follow-up to Afterlife. Egon's daughter and grandchildren, played by Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, and Mckenna Grace, are back in New York with Paul Rudd, and they're living in the old firehouse, and they're busting ghosts. They're driving around New York in the Ecto-1 and zapping things with proton packs, much to the chagrin of the mayor of New York. I won't spoil who that is. And you know, things happen. Kumail Nanjiani is a slacker who shows up with an ancient relic that he sells to Dan Aykroyd in his mystical shop of wonders. And turns out it is the repository for a really bad news spirit, which the team is going to have to get together and battle once again. And yeah, we're doing this again.
But I like this better than the last one. This is better than the 2021 one, I would say.
This one doesn't desecrate the corpse of Harold Ramis, so it's got that going for it.
There's no hologram Harold Ramis here. That's true.
No, none of that. I mean, again, like here's the thing. I didn't review the first one with you because I saw it like the day before that I watched this new one, and there are these two. There are inside Ghostbusters, there are two wolves. One is this attempt to like, let's bring it up to date. Let's do new characters. Let's have a family connection, but they're going to be new and different and do stuff their own way. Great, fine. But then there's also this, like, we can't stray too far from 1984. We have to keep reminding people about 1984 and like throw them a gadget or a character or a something to remind them that there was this movie in 1984 called Ghostbusters that everybody loved. And I wish they would just like have confidence in the new stuff because Phoebe Spangler, played by Mckenna Grace, is a great character and they could really do some cool stuff with her if they would just give her the real estate. The new characters in this movie played by Kumail Nanjiani and Patton Oswalt, also potentially fun, places to go with them. But no. We have to keep dragging in Dan Aykroyd and Annie Potts and Bill Murray and Ernie Hudson, who are lovely and wonderful, don't get me wrong. But the movie never uses them to their full comic potential. They're kind of here as goodwill ambassadors, you know, like to remind you of the thing that you liked that one time. And so, you know, it's so frustrating. I mean, Carrie Coon is a great actress. We love her so much. And she gets nothing to do in these movies. It's ridiculous. It's like, I was thinking about this. She's the Sigourney Weaver of this go round, because like Paul Rudd is the funny one, and then she's the like serious actress who's kind of slumming it and going to goof off with this thing. But they don't give either of them anything to do. The ghost stuff is all real familiar. The jokes are half baked at best. Big giant plot holes here of things that just make zero sense, of like people having to act like an idiot for one scene or else like there's no plot at all. So yeah, really, I found this really frustrating.
I also found that a lot of the interior logic with the big bad villainous ghost who starts all this mayhem, I didn't really follow what it is that takes him down. And the thing with Kumail Nanjiani, I don't know that was explained very well as far as what his role is in this.
Absolutely.
Like there's too much plot and yet not enough plot going on. And then you have, individual strands that have potential. There's a whole thing with Phoebe and this teenage ghost who is super cute named Melody. And they meet cute and they have this lovely spark, pun entirely intended, the ghost died in a fire. And she's sort of stuck in this purgatory and can't join her family yet. And that had potential because there is clearly a lovely kind of romantic spark going on there. Like
There was
neither
the Last
of them
of Us vibe happening there, I thought.
Yeah, like no one really understands either of them but each other, and it's like they can't be together, and it's this fleeting thing, and there's room for a blossoming romance, but the film does not have the courage of its convictions to go as far as it should, as far as that goes.
Yeah, it
and
tiptoes to the edge.
Yeah, and yet wants to have like serious emotional stakes. It wants us to feel things in a way that's different from the like kind of anarchic vibe of 1984 Ghostbusters.
Sure.
Like all of the fun zaniness, like this kind of shaggy dog qualities of it that were so endearing, like none of that is really here. They trot out Bill Murray to say some quippy, irreverent thing here and there, but like he's half-assing it.
He's like a celebrity who walks onto the Carson set, you know? Like, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd, like you have him spewing all this scientific jargon, and like that's fun for him. Ernie Hudson here is the one holding it all together as sort of a thankless role again, but he's like the voice of reason and he's the solid one, and that's all happening. I thought the visual effects were pretty good here. Like when you actually do see what the villainous ghost is, it's pretty terrifying and pretty like it feels substantial. And then that first big chase scene when all four of them are in the Ecto-1 and they're zooming around the streets of New York, like, and they're having snappy banter in the car, and the chase is also, the chase is also thrilling. Like all of that seems to be working in concert with each other in a way that you never see again. Like they capture it all there in the right way. And then they have so many other things to jam in, the nostalgia, and then spinning forward the new characters. Although I will say with this one, Gil Kenan directed this one, and he co-wrote it with Jason Reitman. He takes over directing duties from Jason Reitman. Of course, Ivan Reitman created this whole world with Dan Aykroyd. And so
and Harold Ramis.
I would say, what's that?
And Harold Ramis, who co-wrote
it. And I would say that they don't linger as annoyingly in the nostalgia, like the iconography, the way they did with the first one. Like they seem to integrate it a little bit more in a sure-footed way, like in a snazzier, snappier way that felt okay. But I'm still so confused that we live in a world in which these characters know that the Ray Parker Jr. song was a big hit on MTV. Like I can't cross that plane. I don't understand that. Can you explain that to me?
There's so much. Look, the first movie you had to understand that nobody remembered the Ghostbusters even existed except for Paul Rudd, and that even though Egon took all of their shit to Oklahoma, somehow Ray and Venkman and Winston were able to show up in uniform with their own proton packs. Like nothing makes sense. This one would have you believe that the firehouse fell into like abandonment and thieves came in and stripped all the copper wiring sometime in the 90s, and yet no one has done anything about the bursting to capacity ghost storage unit in the basement. Like
a lot of questions.
It's meanwhile, Winston and his think tank have started this whole other facility where they have tons of storage facilities, and yet he left the one in the firehouse basement sitting there waiting for somebody to do something to it. What's frustrating about this is the potential. You're right. That opening scene gives you that taste of this is the movie we could have. We could have a movie with these four fun characters who are likable and need to be developed, but haven't really been yet. And they have their own rapport going on, their own fun chemistry, and we're putting them in the car and the city and the things that we like and that we know, and we could just leave it at that and have it work. But you're right, they drum up the 84 stuff less in this movie than in the first one, but they still do it a lot. Someone is credited with the music here, but all I heard were old Elmer Bernstein cues throughout.
Yeah, and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, like Paul Rudd quotes the song. So
yes.
I want to talk about Patton Oswalt real fast because that is a huge bright spot and a whole other movie that I want to see.
Sure.
Patton Oswalt is like the ancient language expert who is stuck in the
library.
He's stuck in the basement of the New York Public Library, and he is in a whole other movie, and it feels like the vibe of those 80s movies in a way that's irreverent and light and kind of playful. Like I want that, and yet he's just one cog in this giant noisy machine.
Exactly, because you know that he and Kumail Nanjiani are just the right age where Ghostbusters was a fundamental building block to their brand of nerd comedy, and so to have them in this movie, you think, oh, exciting, new generation, the legacy, all the stuff that you are trying to do with a legacy sequel, but it's like no. Got to put Annie Potts in a Ghostbusters costume because we can.
Oh, but she's so cute. I was happy to see Annie Potts.
I love Annie Potts. I'm never sad to see Annie Potts, but they didn't give her anything to do besides be in the outfit. So, yeah, very frustrating.
What they do with Carrie Coon in both these films is just a travesty. Like a waste of one of the greatest actresses working today, deeply
Utterly
talented, so versatile, and she's just like the no-nonsense mom. It's frustrating as hell to me. Anyway, what's your number?
Bring in Bertha from the Gilded Age, her ghost. She could play that in this movie. It'd be great.
Ghost of Bertha, organizing soirees to climb the ladder, even in death. Okay, so what's your number then?
5.5. How about you?
I'll say 4.5. Yeah, okay. But we're going to get more of these.
Yeah. Apparently, this is the one that's going to bring the franchise past the $1 billion mark. So yeah, we're not done yet.
All right, let us know if you guys see it.